Yeah, sure. We're a B2B SaaS platform for natural resources and security. And essentially what the platform solves for is that analysts and also C-suiters are going to all these different websites all day long to get data from social media, news, internal databases and websites, and then whatever else they're dealing with. So we suck it all together in one place. We're a data aggregator, and so we use a lot of data visualization, geolocation, and then some dashboards to put all the data that either the security risk officer or that risk officer for a mining or company or oil and gas company needs to see in one spot. And that can take different forms. A lot of it is security based, so terrorism, crime, theft, protests, roadblocks. These are the issues our clients face abroad, and we can talk about the kind of particular countries and markets we operate in. And then on the other side of the equation, kind of more of the sustainability side, oftentimes it has to do with environmental and social data, which oftentimes, those grievances produce security situations. If you think about it, so if you think about a community that has grievances against a mining company for polluting water, that can turn into a security issue too. So we kind of, collapse all of that into one map and dashboard situation. So that chief risk officer, chief security officer can see what's going on. So we're a data aggregator. We work a lot with geo visualization, big data. We have some nascent machine learning functions as well. So some of the NLP work we're doing on social sentiment for miners and oil and gas is kind of built into the dashboard function as well. But yeah, we're basically solving for this issue that we really all experience all the time, which is that there's a million places to go get your information. And it's growing every day. The amount of data is growing every day, especially due to IoT sensors and the prevalence of things like GPS and even some new satellite partners, which we have here in Colorado that can monitor assets quite cheaply and efficiently. So we kind of made the decision strategically that rather than go out and create some sort of new data set for risk or security, there's a lot of firms out there that are kind of doing that already. We'd make more of a tool, more of an aggregation tool for that analyst to make
you pull information from a bunch of different places and put it on one platform for the security officer to see and monitor. Is that a layman's term explanation or no?
That's exactly it. I could have said it more succinctly, like you just. I could have said it better myself. And then also, where that's displayed is a map. So it's a very, very detailed, highly granular global map that can show millions of data points very, very rapidly for those same individuals.
Because right now, if I'm like the I don't know, head of security for Nike or whatever, I'm looking at a bunch of different things. I'm logging into a bunch of different places. I'm trying to gather all this information from a bunch of different resources. Yeah. I see.
Yeah, so you might learn about a piece of intelligence from, let's say, the New York Times or Washington Post. Maybe you have an Indonesian language newspaper that you'd like to extract some information from. Maybe the UN has put out some great information that's publicly available on that Indonesian market, or where some of the risks have happened around particular assets, or kind of along the lines of certain actors or attack types, casualties. These types of things. You can filter all that stuff, aggregate it all really quickly, and see it on the map. And everybody understands a map, right? Like a map is an ancient tool that we kind of intuit well cognitively.
So Lynx Global Intelligence.com. Who's your target client? I mean, a certain size company, or what are you targeting?
Yeah, absolutely. So mid-size and major oil and gas and mining companies are our primary target right now. Those companies really experience the security and also the environmental and social risk in market. And it's really hard to move your mine. It's impossible. It's a fixed asset. And then, pipelines, things like ports, factories, these are the kinds of fixed assets that really experience these risks. And I'll also say those same sectors, but on the finance side, right? I mean, we have a push towards making sure that investments are, not only safe and secure for communities and workers, but also environmentally sound and are going to promote some sort of aspect of social good, right? You hear the BlackRocks of the world kind of endorsing this movement towards ESG, environmental, social, and governance data. And that's really important for us to kind of nail that aspect to, not only because we know it's coming down the pike in the market, but also because we know that it's going to be really useful as a tool to kind of mitigate some of those risks and security issues that stem from those environmental and social grievances.
What's the model? Is it per user? Is it the size of the company? Is it month to month? Walk me through the model a little bit.
Yeah, we actually do a per asset model right now. So, it can be, there can be hundreds of data sets that pertain to a particular asset. And again, a mine can be quite small, or it can be a few kilometers or miles long. It can be quite localized, or it can be kind of a huge thing. So we want to make that the, I guess, alterable unit in our pricing. And so we price on asset. We allow a lot, actually dozens of users within our first tier when we price, because you might be 2 or 3 guys in downtown Denver and you have an asset in Africa and you need to know what's going on, or you could be like one of our banner clients in Lima, Peru, and there's several hundred of you working in a security operations center. And so going user by user, one by one is not really, doesn't make a ton of sense. So our tranches or our tiers for our pricing tend to be quite wide on the user side, but it's the asset that kind of drives the pricing model. And then we do a bit of a data configuration period up front. Just, we don't want to kind of ignore the custom needs of the client. We also don't want to be a custom development shop. So we kind of we call it configuration or a little bit of discovery. And then it's what you would expect from enterprise B2B SaaS model, for the rest of the year, which is kind of a fixed price point. And then if they want some custom dev or some other modules, we can do like satellite data, some of the more advanced IoT stuff, and that'll cost a little bit more, but we really want to shoot for simplicity, I think, in that model. So
okay. Do you have a lot of competition in this area, or do you have, is your platform super secret patented technology that nobody else has, or is it, talk to me about that.
Sure. Yeah, that's it's so interesting, right? So we have a lot of competitors in the traditional risk and security sphere, because those are industries that have existed for, in some cases, hundreds of years, right? I mean, think about the Lloyds of London or the control risks of the world, where they've really been around for a long time. Have a big, sizable chunk of the embedded market that probably isn't going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Where there is a lot of that said, I should also mention that those security problems are really big hair on fire issues. In other words, when there is terrorism around your asset, people are getting kidnapped, there's roadblocks, there's business discontinuity. Even though there's a lot of competition, there's also a lot of problems, and there's more problems over time, and the problems get more complex. So the demand side of that equation grows. I think that's important to remember. On the flip side of the business, on the sustainability and ESG side, you really have very few nascent or emergent competitors that are, because it's very tough. And I say it's interesting because when we say ESG, we're talking about environment and society. Well, if I come up to you, Steve, and say, let's talk about environment and society, are we talking about anything specific? Are we talking about we're talking about vegetation? Are we talking about water? We're talking about dust in the air?
You're right. Exactly.
About social grievance, which can, one situation which really may empower human rights, may have a different effect on the economy, right? So we have to balance all these different things. And so what we like to do is really try to break that down and be a little bit more granular, because we know if we can focus on just the water, just the vegetation, some of those particular specific granular pain points that industry is experiencing, then we're not just building an ESG tool. And so because there are so many little granular problems, and also because ESG is kind of new, and sustainability and impact investing has been around for a while, but the idea that we should be building this into our base risk framework and enterprise is very, very new. That allows for a lot of kind of frothiness and new ideas, and so that's kind of what I'm preaching when I talk to other technologists or even students. DU happens to have me back to teach once or twice a year, and so when I talk, I say, like, there are so many problems that we can attack on that sustainability side, um, if we can only just match the technology solution to whatever that problem happens to be.
If you think today's tip or guest interview can help someone you know, please share this with them. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you can be notified when we release a new episode. Our show features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. You can visit riderflex.com to learn more about us and get information on the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.